Hi everyone. It's been a while. I've been meaning to film this video for a couple weeks now, but things kept getting in the way. The most recent factor being that I had some sort of respiratory infection and I had a bad cough. But now, here I am. I feel kind of out of the whole video making thing, so forgive me if it is not the best video. So it was actually a chat, a Facebook chat with Rachel Scooperdoodle ASMR that gave me the idea for this video a couple weeks ago, like I said. Check her out if you haven't yet. She's awesome. And she loves cats. And I was reminded that I have this book. And I wanted to share it with you all. So, as you can see, this is a book called All Cats Have Aspergers Syndrome. So this is a children's book, and it is a amusing, simple way of explaining Aspergers to children. So obviously, to anyone that is also familiar with Asperger's syndrome on either a personal or a theoretical level, this is an extreme simplification of an incredibly complex syndrome. Each person that is on the autism spectrum scale is unique and cannot be captured by any list of symptoms or problems. So, if you are someone watching that has Asperger's or is on the spectrum, you may recognize some things. With others, you may think it doesn't apply to you at all. So please keep in mind that any book talking about Asperger's in general will be a generalization of a complex disorder. And this book especially is going to simplify things immensely, because it's just a nice starting point for kids who may have someone with Asperger's in their family, in their class, On the cover here it reads, don't try to read it because you'll get a headache. I'll just read it to you. Touching, humorous, and insightful, this book evokes the joys and challenges of raising a child who is different. It leaves the reader with a sense of the dignity, individuality, and potential of people with Asperger's syndrome. It is written by a woman called Kathy Hoopman. And it is dedicated to Alexandria Bridges, a true lover of cats. If I had prepared this video in any way, I could have crossed out that name and written for Rachel's Cooperdoodle ASMR, a true lover of cats. I keep thinking I'm gonna knock over the camera, which might happen a couple times during this video, so excuse any harsh cuts. Okay, we see a tiny little kitten here. It says the first signs of Asperger's syndrome are usually picked up very young, which is true. But especially with Asperger's syndrome, it can take many years to realize that these first signs are part of autism. They can fly under the radar for a long time, camouflaging their differences. Okay, still figuring out the logistics of the situation here. Okay. An Asperger child looks at the world in his own unique way, which I suppose is true for everyone, for every creature on this earth. We all see things quite uniquely. He likes to be near those he loves, but doesn't want them to hold him. And I feel that you could easily put near in quotation marks, because near does not necessarily mean in the same room. Oh, this is so adorable, a little gray kitten. Look how cute. Preferring squishy places to a hug, while cats do like squishy places. I like squishy places. I don't really like hugs. I don't know. I'm okay with them if they're brief. Instead of coming to people for comfort, he may be overly attached to a toy a stuffed animal, but it can also be a certain book, a certain bowl, a certain glass. I guess just something that's theirs, and they always want to use the same one, and if it breaks or gets lost, all hell can break loose. A certain toy or a certain pet. This cat is eyeing this little froggy in a jar. Two froggies in a jar. There's one, and there's one. They're not so little. Maybe they're toads. I don't know. The cat is probably thinking, oh nom nom. It's possible he's extra adventurous with no sense of danger, which is applicable to most cats. But not all of them. Anyway, and he uses up some of his 9 lives all too quickly. There's a kind of weathered looking cat here, and a beware of the dog sign. I'm gonna say this cat may be quite old, or it's drying up from a rainstorm, but it's got like tufts of hair here, and the whiskers are long, and yeah, it looks a little old. An Asperger child often has exceptionally good hearing, and loud sounds and sudden movements may scare him. And we see a little kitty arching his back, looking terrified. I hope they didn't scare it just to get the picture. That would be sad. Oh, it's gonna be okay. Good. So we have exceptionally good hearing, adversity to loud sounds. I was just about to say this, but the book says it. His other senses can be heightened too, such as touch. These clothes are scratchy. Diva cat. And smell. Phew, it's garbage day again. Yuck. Oh, it's so adorable. If humans were cats, I would be much happier. Yet things that bother other people may not bother him. And you see a white cat in the snow that says, I'm not cold. He's often fussy about what he eats. And this is quite closely related to the senses being heightened, because the sense of smell can be so sensitive, and this directly affects your sense of taste. So things that taste just fine or subtle to people without Aspergers or autism can be very strong tasting and overpowering to someone with autism. And so in the early stages before being diagnosed, they can seem very fussy or spoiled or difficult when it comes to eating. And they're not trying to be difficult. It's just that it tastes so much stronger. You know. So they're often fussy about what they eat and wants the same food presented in the same way day after day. So a lack of variety in diet is definitely not a problem for a cat or someone with Asperger's. He isn't interested in the things other kids his age do. Oh my god, it's a little hammock. Little hammock, I think it's made of wool. Cute. And when he's forced to mix, he doesn't know how. Well, I actually know more about Asperger's than I do about cats. So I wouldn't be able to tell you if cats are truly solitary creatures. But I think they probably are. Other kids make friends. But don't invite him to play. And he may be bullied, which is a sad but true fact. It's a tough world out there for anyone that deviates from the norm. This cat is giving me the creeps. Can you see that? You can see like little veins here, the edge of its eye, like little red veiny things here. Sometimes his parents feel sad, wondering why they can't understand their own child, which I think is not solely in the cases of a child with Asperger's. And they can become very protective, wrapping them in bubble wrap. The Asperger child may feel sad too. This is kind of a cross between sad and utterly terrified. Scared kitty. This is clear sad. And he may become a loner, caught up in a world of his own. Which doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's nicer on your own. Simpler. Easier. Where small things fascinate him for hours. That's so true. Cute. And he can do the same thing over and over again. Read the same book, watch the same episode, listen to the same song, play the same game, eat the same food from the same bowl in the same spot, same time. That's bliss. Without getting bored. When things get too much for him, he may tantrum. And I feel like children with autism can kind of have a bad rep for in terms of aggression. But people always need to remember that they're not aggressive. So if they tantrum or lash out, something caused it. So you need to figure out what and prevent it from happening again. Sometimes his relatives think they could bring him up better than his parents can. His vocabulary may be very advanced. That was catastrophic. Come. But then he gets little words all mixed up. That doesn't look like a mouse. Or misunderstands what people say. I haven't let the cat out of the bag. This is, I think, a well-known factor, well-known part of autism. It's part of the, linguistic component of autism. The development of language may be slower, it may be very advanced, but what you often see is that they will take things very literally. So any use of proverbs, or even some forms of humor like irony or sarcasm, can go right over their heads. Just part of the way they think. Just a little different than the rest of you. When people talk to him, he may refuse to look at them. So eye contact is another one of the things people expect. I find, though, that it's never wise to expect things when it comes to people with autism or any the labels. Just try to understand what it means for them as a person. Because what you can get is that people will doubt someone's diagnosis or be like, oh, well, you must have a very mild form of autism then, because you can make eye contact and you don't freak out when I touch you. But that doesn't have to mean that it's a mild form. It can mean that they're dying inside but just learned to hide it. It can also mean that that's just not a factor that's important in their unique case. Yet when he talks, he goes on and on and on about the same topic. I like black mice and brown mice and white mice. Bores everyone silly. Then he says something that makes them stop and think. Did you know that mouse and man share 91.5% of the same DNA? That's not a big deal, you know, because man and like trees and bananas also share tons of the same DNA. I guess we really are all stardust. And they marvel at his bright, intelligent mind. I like that line. In many ways, his thinking is far ahead of his peers. And he seeks answers in places others don't think to look, or invents new ways to do old things. It says, if you wash this way, you don't get fur balls. So those are a couple of lines about the fact that it can be a true advantage to have people among you that think differently. People may be astounded by how far he is prepared to go to test his latest theory. If a space is smaller than the width of whiskers, you can't get through. And some will say he's a little genius and this is the cutest little thing ever. Oh my god. If babies look like this, I'd want one. Oh, so cute. That reminds me of something my sister said once. She said, I wish there was a way you could give puppies or kittens some sort of injection that made them stay small. And she said, and it should only hurt a little. Or she said, and it's okay if it hurts a little, but not a lot. Daily rituals come comfort him, and he likes a good routine. And gets worried if the schedule has changed. Often, a child with Asperger has a great sense of humor, but he doesn't always think about what he's saying. Tact is definitely a sore point, and those around him may cringe with embarrassment. He is honest, which is great, of course, but sometimes he's too honest. Your face is all crinkly when you're mad, Mom. Yet when he tries to tell a lie, he's not very good at it. Bird? What bird? An Asperger child may be very open to all people, regardless of age or size or species. And he may choose friends others wouldn't have thought he would like. But as he grows older, he senses that he's different from everyone else. And feels as if he belongs on a different planet. Planet Asperger. Ain't kinda like that planet. Like an outsider looking into a world he never truly understands. Yet with his unique perspective on life, his eye for detail, and his amazing powers of concentration, many an Asperger child has reached the top of his chosen field. I'd really like some facts on that line. At least in Belgium, most people with Aspergers don't make it as far as university. Sure, he may need a little help following fashionable trends, but don't forget everyone is different in his own way, and there's a little bit of Asperger in us all. That line bothers me quite a bit. So an Asperger child is just like any other child. he needs love and encouragement, the occasional bit of advice, space to be himself, and then everyone can sit back and enjoy the unique individual he becomes. That was it. That's a long book. Anyway, I hope that you liked this video. I saw that the camera was doing a bunch of focusing because I needed to move from page to page. We couldn't get a wide enough shot to include both pages in one shot. So I hope that wasn't too disruptive. Y'all should have your eyes closed anyway. But then you miss out on all the cute cats. Anyway, I hope you all are well. I've been okay. I've been really busy. Honestly, being busy is a blessing to me. I don't know what I'd do if I had a 9-to-5 job and I had to come home all night. I'd come home every night just to be alone with my thoughts. I don't think that would be very beneficial to me. I wouldn't know how to escape. I can't very well watch ASMR videos from the time I get home till the time I go back to work. Now can I? Anyway, so I have a lot of my fellow ASMR artists on Facebook. But not everyone. So I want to use this to reach out and say to Springbok ASMR that her video, a recent roleplay, I don't even know the title. It has to do with her reviewing an art portfolio, kind of an art school admissions board thing. Anyway, since she has put that up, I have fallen asleep to it pretty much every night, and I still don't know what happens. I've never made it to the end. I have no clue what she even says or does in the video. It's amazing, and I'll be putting it on again in a bit. So, Springbok, if you are listening in. If you made it this far, thank you for doing what you do. I love your channel. You rock. In case she doesn't make it this far, but you, trusty listener, have, feel free to pass along the message. Okay. Good night, everyone. I've got some videos planned, but time, you know. Good night, all.